Okay, we're gonna watch this fucking thing, dude.
The way that
T1 has done irreparable damage to esports.
And I just say this because of the narratives that come out about this team. This team is
Okay.
incredibly successful, right? 2 worlds,
Yeah.
several finals, right? But I think that the narratives around this team are like way out of control. I think that shifts the way a lot of League fans view the game. For instance, this most recent year when they won Worlds and they beat BLG, they beat Genji, suddenly they're team of the year, even though they didn't win, either of their domestic splits. They didn't win MSI. They won one tournament and suddenly they're team of the year. And I think that's
isn't it supposed to be the host? Yeah, you know what that is? Why is? I guess they're doing it a different way. So people are gonna give their opinions to LS, and LS has to say their opinions are shit.
Really disingenuous to all the other teams.
I mean, this is a pretty good hot take, saying that T1 has done irreparable damage.
Well, I
to
would have
fucking
to ask
like,
you, how do you think it does
esports.
irreparable damage? Because T1 is literally carrying viewership.
Okay, T1 is carrying viewership, but it's mostly Faker carrying viewership.
So
every single tournament.
No,
one like so HLE Genji just had a series, and yet
Yeah.
T1 versus HLE, which apparently should not be the finals, had more viewers. Riot is obviously very happy when they're there. So saying that they deal irreparable damage as they're one of the things that keeps boats afloat, and single-handedly carrying LCK's average viewership as one team versus.
I mean, I will say that, yeah, they have like the most viewership, but that's mostly because of Faker. When Faker doesn't play, he wants to get as much viewership. And also, all the narratives and storylines are based around T1. Like, there's so much more content about T1 and Faker than any other team or player. It's kind of like unfair to compare T1 to other teams.
9. That's crazy. So there's that. The other thing that I would say is that I don't think people realize that Worlds, the reason that Worlds is so impressive as a tournament win is because when all teams in the world are brought there in unison, it's essentially bringing everyone to a deserted island, putting them on the island, and forcing them to do X task. And throughout the time that they're all there,
I agree with that.
They're refining it harder and better than they're ever going to do outside of that island. And because of that, they're able to do things that normally they're not going to do when they're not having that kind of rigorous pressure, training.
But wouldn't you say about the LCK? I guess it's only on one patch, so I guess it's fine.
Environment, etc., that's provided by Worlds. So to win the World Championship is impressive in itself because it means the 5 players, when things are the most intense, they show up more than any of the other 5 players from any other team. Even though, yes, I do think that like Genji, 300 days out of the year is going to best them in a best of series. But I do think that there's something impressive and fascinating about that particular 5's ability to show up at that island tournament.
Yeah, I don't.
I agree, but I think the point that is that because T1 only does well at Worlds, and that's the whole narrative, it's doing damage to the current esports ecosystem because everyone downplays spring, summer, MSI. So basically, like, 3/4 of the year are just like meaningless to most fans because the whole narrative about T1 is this, T1's the best, T1 wins Worlds, Worlds is all that matters, is a problem.
I think there's anything.
Worlds is the most important, but it's not the only thing.
Right? Sure. Like in 2022, when DRX won Worlds, none of the same conversations were being had. No one said that DRX was
no one was saying that.
Whatnot,
but I think Zeka did win mid of the year.
T1 has to be team of the year. Faker has to be player of the year. I think that's a little bit disingenuous. The year before that, JDG lost 1 best of 5 the entire year. They lost to T1 in semis.
True.
Right? And
2023 JDG was the GOAT team.
As one of the greatest rosters of all time, even though they won everything that wasn't Worlds, right? So that's on the point about how impressive Worlds is. Because yes, I do admit that this T1 team is very impressive in their Worlds performances, but elsewhere they haven't been able to perform.
Yeah, they suck elsewhere.
The way that conversations are had about that T1 team are a little disingenuous.
I
agree.
As
for the viewership point,
am I supposed to agree with the other guy? Or am I supposed to agree with
LS?
LS?
People will only tune in because it's T1, but I think that doesn't create a healthy environment because we have this narrative around, okay, now is Riot patching around T1? I'm not saying they are, right? But the fact that this conversation has to be had, or that
conspiracy theories on board. Let's go.
Does damage the esport in terms of competitive just optics. Like if you look at patch 14.16, 14.17, 18, right? They're nerfing all the 80 carry mids that Faker was notoriously bad at, and they're buffing Ahri, Azir. They're buffing Orianna. They're buffing these control mages. I think that
I feel like we're kind of gone into a different argument. We're now saying that T1 is like conspiring with Riot Games to get their shit buffed. Like, what the fuck?
It's better to build a more, I guess, loyal fan base to League of Legends esports in general than just T1 fans. I think T1 fans, while they are carrying a lot of esports
Dude,
sales
I'm so lost.
merchandise, I think that in order for League of Legends esports to be sustainable, we need to promote other teams. We need better storylines out there besides just the T1 storyline. And I think that's why this team's done damage to the esports scene because like, if you're someone like me who's a fan of the LPL and just watching these last few years and watching how the meta completely shifts towards T1 into Worlds, it does hurt a little bit and it does feel a little bit bad to watch this team win Worlds and it's like, oh, but like now what? Like, was this even a legitimate Worlds win? I mean, it is, but it just feels bad as a fan.
On that point, I mean, you keep blaming the team, but it's not the team's fault. Like, they can't control how casters, personalities, streamers, tweeters, anyone reacts to their wins.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the team. It's not their fault that they're winning or that they're doing anything that they're doing. And I would agree with you that obviously other storylines and stuff should get built up. The problem is there's not enough people with gravity that can build up such storylines. I would argue that one of the last storylines that came out of LCK is the Church of Chovy. I'm not there anymore to make a lot of people mad on Twitter, or during the broadcast.
That is true. That's probably one of the last good storylines we've had. The Church of Chovy was it's pretty funny, dude. I mean, that, you know what? Yeah, maybe we just need better casters and better storytellers. I don't know, dude. Like,
to get people upset enough to tune in to hate on me or to go to my Twitter to hate on me, both of which are good in broadcasting because it's better to have someone hate you or love you than to just be apathetic.
That's why Monty and Ellis are some of the best, dude. They're so much fun.
Because in order to either hate or love, they must tune in. I would point out though that there's other people like KMTlol who have promoted like Zeus or The Shy. Casters have to do this, but the problem is that the broadcast over the last couple of years has begun losing power to the co-streamers, and so it's on the co-streamers and stuff to raise up people, which is why I used to always have guests on the stream because I thought it was really important for pro players to build their brand.
Sure, you know what? Freak was like that. Yeah, he would create a lot of like controversies or say a lot of like controversial statements, and that got a lot of like eyes.
Get exposure to fans and raise themselves up so they can have longevity in esports. Because I've been around 21 years, and I would like to provide platforms for pros to try to build their own brands. So why I was always pushing people to tweet, actively engage and stuff, but you can't get them to do that. And that's not the broadcast's fault necessarily. So circling back to T1, it's not good.
Right. I just want to say, like, I don't think it's T1's fault necessarily.
Sure.
I'm just saying that this team has done that damage, and it's not because they're not trying to damage esports. I don't think that.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing is like, okay, is the T1 damaged esports? Yes and no. Because I would say yes because like the whole narratives and all the like interest is just about one team and one tournament, and that doesn't help when we're trying to do a year-long competition. Like if Riot wants to do 3 splits, right? Winter, spring, summer, first stand, MSI, Worlds, you can't just build a narrative only around one event. Because then it's like if I was a viewer, why would I give a fuck about split 1, 2, and 3? And like first stand and MSI, I would just watch Worlds, and whoever won Worlds would just be the best team. But like if you make that thing, then it's like, okay, we're not playing for 12 months a year. We're just doing for 1 month a year, and that is the problem.
Faker goes out there and he's like, I'm gonna kill viewership by just only having fans of me.
Viewership's dead and he leaves.
No, absolutely. Oh no, trust me.
No, but viewership is dead when he leaves because all the narratives are built around one person. Like everything's about Faker this, Faker that. Yes, he's good. Yes, he's the GOAT. But like, the Hall of Fame is built around Faker. Like the World Championships, like Faker's the best. Like yeah, he's winning, but like. What about all the other players that win? Oh, who cares about LCK? Like, Chovy's not good because he only won at LCK MSI. It's all about Faker because Faker won Worlds. And that is the problem. That's why the viewership is going to die when he retires.
My girlfriend only watches T1.
Yeah,
so I completely understand. And in order to
girlfriend? I thought this was Redditors.
I would say we need to have, like you said, more genuine conversations and more more narratives built around not just this T1 team. Oh, they're like,
Is this
the
one
whole
guy
T1 is
talking? Oh my god, it
gimmick.
is.
It's gonna like once they lose, I think it loses its
Interesting format.
its power.
The issue with that is that the mass majority of people in the scene, regardless of what they show you as public facing, are not. They don't care about, nor are they incentivized to care about the longevity of
It's
others.
also because of
They would
franchising that's
rather
its own
others stay
storylines.
down or kept down or
grassroots.
pushed down, so
Yeah.
that they can reap the rewards of whatever.
I mean,
benefit.
franchises doesn't help, right? It helps orgs be more financially stable, but that's about it. Because now all the orgs have all the power with who's good and who's
that the scene
bad,
offers.
or
So
who's
when you
going
have
to
stuff like
climb
this
up.
happening, yes.
Because you can
the scene will
gatekeep like
cannibalize itself.
mid-tier team or players.
Hi, I'm Arsh.